And
Well, it's you and me so far.
well, just need one more. We have a quorum.
I know. I'm gonna go play with the minutes here.
All right, Terry's joining us.
Who is?
Terry,
Okay.
so we have a quorum.
Yep.
Sharon said she's at the ER with an infection, so
Okay.
she won't be here.
Yeah, I see Terry's here.
What I'm doing is opening up all these pictures. I want to show you guys what we're dealing with here. And that's why this is not straightforward. Okay, I'm done with that for now. And I will show these when the time comes. All right, where am I? Okay, Terry, hello. Hoping. All right. We have a few minutes. I don't know if Bill's joining us. I think Meneer said he was going to join us, and I don't know about the rest of us, but we got a quorum.
Yeah, we have three, so we're.
You got to share your screen, or do we need to bring up our own copies of things?
Yeah, let me share my screen because I have a couple of things I gotta do. I'm gonna be sharing some photos a little later on. All right, that's the agenda. The mayor wants me to attend this EDC meeting on Thursday, and I have literally 4 other conflicts. And I'm not even going to be in town. That's even worse.
What's the topic?
I think he wanted me part of it because of the, what we're doing here with the sewer. So, we had a presentation, the mayor yesterday, with the planning. And so, we're basically telling them what kind of densities we can do. We're going to have a tough job at the end of the month, guys, because we have to allocate gallons per day. Oops, I got Manier. Here we go, admit. We got to allocate gallons per day for each lot or area. That's going to be fun. Kick the can down the road. I think I'll ask the engineers to do it. Hello, Manier. He's on his phone, I see. We have, according to my clock, 4 more minutes. Oh, is Jeremy Norris? Jeremy? I don't know if I see anyone else yet. Oh, Stan? I don't know if Bill or Ray's going to attend. It's not important, but I'll wait. I'm not sure. Ray may want, well, he may want to join, but he doesn't have to.
And we haven't heard from Jim yet.
No, I haven't heard from Jim either.
Is Sharon going to be absent?
What's that?
Is Sharon going to be absent?
Yes, Sharon is in the, I guess, the email I got where she was in the ER room with an infection. Let me see it. Where? Yeah, Tom sent me a thing. He says Sharon is at the ER with an apparent infection. She probably won't make the meeting tonight. Well, I would imagine she's not going to. Well, she's having some trouble.
That's not good.
No, it's not. Not at all. It's the last place I want to be is a hospital right now.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I mean, getting sick right now is just not a good idea.
So put it off.
And it's the same thing. My wife said, I want to get on a ladder to clean the gutters, and she goes, no, not now. I said, well, they got to be clean. Come on, no, not now.
You're not falling off now.
No, you can't get hurt now. This is, you may find yourself, of course, I could be a wisecrack guy and say, she says you'll probably find yourself in a field hospital. And I'll say, well, as a veteran, Vietnam veteran, that won't be the first time I was in a field hospital. But I thought it was the last, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with field hospitals, by the way. Yeah, it's scary. I got 6:59. We'll wait just another minute. Then I'll call this to order. Special meeting.
And for the motion on Weston and Sampson, do we have the dollar amount of Weston and Sampson's contract? Because that motion is kind of awkwardly worded. Sounds like we're going to pay them 1.2 million.
No, and I told her, I tried to, she put an attachment for background. I really wanted to change that motion, which we will do. The
Yeah.
motion really is what I explained to Roxanne, it's not anything to do with 1.2 million. It has to do with, we held back $6,800 to do the design. And I wanted to release that so that they could do the design, because right now they're doing the trail and I wanted to get that
Right.
together. So it's not going to be, that phase 1 is for the trail design, not for the construction. That's just an estimate. It may not cost that much.
Right.
We don't know. And we won't know until they do the design. So, yeah, you're right. I tried to I don't know. Well, let me open up this action. She should have put a, yeah, see, there's the back, I don't, can you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
This authorization to release funds for the engineering design. The action stretch cost to be bid in the near future is the actual 1.2 million. The releasing of the funds is in the original engineering proposal. It was held until certain testing and reviews were done before proceeding. That's the background information on that proposal. So I don't know.
Yeah, we need to rephrase that somehow.
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna drive Tony crazy. It's not something we really have to vote on, to be honest. It's really just we already have approval. We've already approved the funding. We just held it back. We just said,
Well, we need to authorize its release then.
yes, all we're doing is authorizing the release of the funding. Anyway, okay, it's it's now 7:01. So let me call the special meeting, the WPCA of Town of Ledyard, on September 14th, 2021 at 7:01.
Okay, let me just go through make sure I have all the participants correct here.
Yes. Go ahead.
President Tony Capon, Ed Lynch, Munir Tufik, Jeremy Norris, Stan Juber, Terry Jones, Bill Soms, and Sharon Wadecki are not here. Is that
Correct.
correct?
That's
And
correct.
I am appointed as the voting member.
Yes.
Okay.
So in the old business, before getting into discussion, the reason we didn't vote on this in our last meeting, even though we had all the proposals, was that Marcia wanted us to look at the other sites. So let me go through these sites very carefully. Now I know I'm going to show you some pictures, but I actually saw in a group of pictures, I didn't see let me see if I see the Loftus. There should have been a picture on the Loftus and I don't see it in my group of pictures. Anyway, I know that's not in new business, but I just want to go over that real briefly, and then we'll go in detail. These other sites, other than maybe Village Drive, are just not ready for any quick estimate for demo. And it's going to take time, and there's actually mitigating circumstances on every one of them. So we didn't want to hold this up. I mean, I think it's not fair to the bidders that they bid on this thing, and then we're holding them up for months. So we didn't want to do that.
Well, and their bids may also expire.
Correct. And the other thing is the monies. Now, I'm told, now Bill's not here, but I'm told by Weston and Sampson is that this kind of project qualifies for the monies that are being held for water and sewer projects. So to me, this is a no-brainer. You know, we have the money, but you know, my question to Bill is going to be, well, this project plus other ones that we want to do, you know, we can spend that money. We have that money. The other thing that's generating this is that Marcia in the spring was getting grilled by the insurance company about these properties and the liability. So there's an incentive for the town to get rid of these properties. They are hazards. They are potential real big risk for the town. And particularly when the insurance company is identified it as such, there's really a question about, well, if we don't do anything about it, you know, what is the insurance company going to cover if there is an issue? So I think it was very important that we go through this. So it's the monies, certainly, you know, we can have this discussion later with Bill and Ian, but the monies are available. By the way, that money, Ian told us that we had over $800,000 in the bank right now. That's what we got in the bank. Now, I know we got issues with the tank and painting and what have you. But again, these monies qualify for not the infrastructure, but the funds that the state provided. I believe the town is for 4.2 million. So anyway, any other discussions on this before I make a motion. I think somebody's trying to talk, but I can't hear them. Is that you, Terry?
That may be some feedback from you. I hear a little echo of your voice every
Okay.
once in a while.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I did hear something. Anyway, guys, any further, do you want to, I can open up the bid here. I don't know where is it? Oh, there it is. So the Stanford Wrecking Company was the lowest bid. They also have, the town has had some experience with them, and they've done, or actually some people that are even outside the town have had good, have good report for these guys. So anyway, any other discussions? Not, I'm gonna put a motion that RFP 2022-01 for demolition to the Gallup Hill tank, concrete bunker, and associated underground pipe, and I have in parentheses, except what might be needed to supply water to the building lots south of the tank, to accept the lowest bid from Stanford Wrecking Company, Trumbull, Connecticut, in the amount of $122,765. Looking for a second.
Second by Stan.
A second by Stan. Any further discussions? Well, hearing none. All those in favor of the
Aye.
motion, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those not in favor, signify by saying aye. Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. Okay. Now I'm just going to go and basically show you some pictures, but I got to share. New share. So what you're seeing here, whoops, let me hit the word share. This is the Village Drive, a picture of the Village Drive. It's a bunker. Okay, it seems to be secured by a fence, which, by the way, the Gallup Hill is not. Let me see if I can show you a different perspective. Is this one? Yeah, here's one. Hold on, let me share this. All right, share this. It's pretty secure. It's a metal door. But again, it's, now this one might be ready to do some bidding on, as opposed to, I'm going to share another picture, but this one's pretty secure. I mean, it does have a fence on it. So I'm not really too concerned. Where did that one go? Right here. Let me share that one. So you can see there's a fence and there's a chain on top of that concrete, that, bunker entrance. It's actually a steel plate up there. It's not very big. It's a small, looks like pump station. But anyway, that's Village Drive. I have other pictures, but I think you get the point. But now I want to show you a real complicated one, and this one is far from ready to do anything with. I actually thought we gave this to the Public Works. This is Sablewood. All right, that's iron exchange columns. Pretty dark in there, isn't it? Let me do another share. I'll show you this picture. It's another perspective against the wall. If you look through the door there, you see tanks sticking out the concrete wall. I've actually got a better picture. Let me show you that one. And this is an important picture because this one, Steve Masalin says, well, all you're going to do is tear down the building because and let's leave those tanks underground. To be honest with you, those tanks are partly underground, but they're not really underground. I don't think you can, what are you going to do? You have to cover those things somehow. I mean, somebody could break into that. So Sablewood is just not ready. I think I have. I think I thought I had, yeah. I have an out, let me do this one. I have an outdoor picture. Building looks pretty good. I think that's the generator behind the Sablewood. Take a look at that building. I mean, it looks new.
Yeah, it's almost a shame to tear it down. Well, Sablewood isn't that old to begin with.
No, it's not. But this one's a troubled one because kids are breaking into it. And so, but I thought we gave this to the Department of Public Works, and then Steve is saying, oh, just tear the building down and leave the tanks in the ground. And I don't think we can do that. I mean, that's.
So if
Go ahead.
kids are breaking in, can't we just get better locks on the door or somehow secure it so that they can't get into it? Wouldn't that solve the problem?
Well, we could, but you know, it is a wooden roof that the building is actually into the hill. If you see this is the south end of the building. The north end of the building is where the tanks are that stick out. So you can actually get up on the roof. You don't even need a ladder. You can just walk up the hill where you see where this generator is. That's a hill. You can see the trees going up. You can actually walk up the hill and just jump on the roof. So you're right, even if we put better locks in the thing, they're jumping off the roof. Now you can say, well, you can put better fencing, and yeah, these fences are certainly climbable. So I don't know. This is right in the neighborhood, by the way. This is right in Sablewood. It's just down the hill. So yeah, these are candidates for what Marcia wants to do for the first of the year. She wants to put a bond out. I thought I had a picture and I'm trying to find it. I don't have it. I also want to show you a picture of Loftus. Loftus has huge tanks in there and electrical. Now, what Steve Masalin suggested is that we go to the owner of the land, because the town doesn't own that land. It's leased as long as we're supplying the town with water, which we're not doing anymore. And because that well's sealed. So
I thought the town did own the land, but there was a deed restriction in it.
yeah, there is a deed restriction, but the deed restriction says that you have use of the land. It's not really that we own the land. Yeah, I know. When we found out the hard way, when we thought about selling this thing to a water company, then we found out the town doesn't really have rights to the land. So what Steve wants to do is offer this up as is to the landowner. I'm going to rephrase that. He wants to sell it as is, the building, obviously not the land, but the building as is to the landowner. And I'm thinking the landowner is going to probably look at that and go, you take that stuff out of there and I'll take the building. And I'll buy the building. But I don't think he's going to take the building with those tanks in there and all that heavy electrical. Now, the heavy electrical is not connected, but there's some three-phase, motor starters. I mean, it's pretty heavy. I'll have to send you guys the picture that I have. It shows pretty dramatically what's in Loftus. There's also they did some drones, and I can't find it right now. I'll look for it later. There's a drone over that land, and you see the pit on the north side of the building. There's a pit there, and that pit is black. Why is it black? Because that's where they did the discharge from the sand filters when the manganese was being taken out of the water. And if you ever seen manganese oxide, it is pitch black. The mineral manganese oxide it's like a mica. It looks like mica, but it's very, very black. So I don't know what the concentration of manganese is in that pit. I don't think the landowner is going to want to deal with that either. So I'm just showing the reality of what Loftus. I like what Steve's saying, but I'm not sure what our liability is to say to the landowner, well, yeah, you can take this, you give us some money and it's yours. I think the state would probably have some comments about that. And anytime the state gives land away, they have to remediate, or I guess maybe the ones who are buying the property, but we're not selling this property. We're just getting rid of them.
We don't own the property, correct?
No,
That's
we
what we're saying.
don't. We don't own it.
No, and we only have the right to lease it as long as we're using it for water, and we're not using it for water anymore.
Correct.
So we have no right, we no longer have a legal right to be on that property. And it
Correct.
strikes me that when you no longer meet the conditions to use the property, you're typically legally required to return the property in the condition that you got it, which means this building wasn't here. So the idea that we can sell the building to the landowner when we have no right to the building anymore strikes me as at least legally dubious.
Remember, this is what Steve was offering. I don't think he knew what the legal implications were. And I have to agree with you. The only way we're going to give the land back to the landowner is demolish this, take it down. And so I think my comment to Marcia is going to be, we need to find out what it's going to cost to do that and do the remediation. And that's going to be in a bond, next year. Now the Pfizer well.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Has anyone talked to the landowner yet? Do they have any interest in the building?
Steve has talked to the landowner, but I don't know the answer to that question. He never alluded to that. He never said he wanted the building. He didn't even, I mean, it's in the south of his property. It's in the woods. It's not, the Loftus family has not indicated that they want that land. They haven't indicated anything. So that
because I was just thinking, if they did want the building, instead of selling it to them, could we give it to them as is with the condition that they take care of the stuff that's in it? So then we wouldn't have to worry about the demolition or anything at all if we're just giving the stuff back to them, right? If they wanted it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so the question, that's right. So the question is, I think that's what Steve was saying, what you're saying, is to approach the landowner and say, I guess, I'm not sure how the town can give away stuff like this. So that would have to go to the town council. And, we have to talk to Bill, hey, can we just give this to the landowner, the whole kit and caboodle, without any, and then he takes responsibility. I mean, I don't think there's anything hazardous in there. As I said, I don't know about the pit.
I just looked up green sand and they actually sell it as a fertilizer. So,
the magnesium.
so I don't think that's hazardous.
Yeah, it's not. It's probably not. So I guess, I guess that's the question. All right. So
Only thing with the green sand is if they use chemicals in it. Because our filter media has to be hauled off.
yeah, those tanks still have filter media, don't they?
Yeah, they're, I just joined. I'm sorry, I've been sitting out there for.
Yeah, I
20
know. I
minutes.
just got somehow when you're in a conference here, Zoom doesn't tell you that people are waiting. Sorry. Yeah, so what we're discussing, Ray, is that we by the way, we approved or recommended the town council to go ahead with the demo
Okay,
on the Gallup Hill tank. So that's what we've been doing. Now we've been talking about these various properties, Village Drive, Loftus. I've been showing him some of your pictures.
okay.
Sablewood is Steve wants to just tear the building down. We really can't do that. There's tanks sticking out of the wall.
Right.
Nobody knows what's in those tanks, by the way. And then we got to Loftus, and then Steve says, well, why don't we just sell them the building as is? And we're thinking, well, that might not be able to do that. Loftus may not want it.
When we looked at that, when you first decommissioned everything, what happens is in that the chamber with the filter media, if you don't keep it wet, turns into concrete. So when we first looked at that, we would have to get somebody in there to jackhammer it out. And because I talked to McVac about that, because you have that at Loftus, the big drums, or try to get them, pick them up, but they're real heavy. And then you had where they dump the filter, the waste in that basin. That all has to be removed. That's outside in a trough. It might be all gone, who knows? So I haven't been down there in a while, but that's when we looked at it. Those two big vessels had to move, but if you don't keep that material in water, it hardens up.
Well, I'm sure it's dried up.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, Ray, you know what C4 can do to it.
Yeah.
And then just pick up the pieces and take it to the dump, right?
That-
Well, I mean, yeah, so those tanks are going to be a problem, even if if Loftus takes the site and says, yeah, I'll take it. Then he's going to find out what the hell's in these tanks. I'll tell him they're big boat anchors. Yeah, so I think we're going to end up having to, we'll have to have that discussion with Loftus, but we're going to probably end up having to get an estimate and tear that whole building down. Now, and as it's
Ed,
yes,
this is Jim Ball.
yeah,
Have we been approached by Loftus at all?
yeah, that's what Jeremy asked. I know we have not, that I know of. I'm not aware of it. I'm not aware that the family is, as far as we know, the family thinks we're still probably using it for water for the town. So I guess the question would have to be, yeah, we'd have to approach him. Yeah, so we don't own the land. That land is not the town's to give away. I don't know whether you knew the comedian Gary Sadler. He was his joke is he sold his apartment the other day, and then he says the owner was furious. But we can't. We only own the building and the equipment inside. That's it.
The town owns the land? Is that correct?
No,
Who owns the
Loftus is on
land?
it.
Loftus.
Who?
The Loftuses do.
Oh, this was a lease?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
So we own the building, but we can't sell the building to anybody because we can't transfer the lease.
Correct. So this happened, Jim, when Bill thought about taking this system and selling it to a bottling company.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, Eric Treaster went and researched the deed and found out that the deed, it's a restricted deed where the town has use of the land as long as it's providing water for the town. That's it.
Yeah, I thought we actually did own it though, based on Eric's research. It was just the restrictive covenant on it was that if it ceased to be used for water, it reverted back to the original owner, but we did buy it.
Boy, is that right? Now,
Yeah.
okay, but
That's my recollection also.
that means, but that still means the same thing. We can't sell that to somebody, right?
It had, the deed restriction was that it had to be used for public water supply. Otherwise, it reverted to the original owner.
All right, so now that we've stopped using it for water, we actually technically, we don't own the land, I guess.
Yeah. But I could see getting prepared for turning it over, but quite frankly, unless they do anything, in this picture, I could see removing, is that a transformer?
Oh, no, actually, I'm sorry, that's Sablewood. That's actually a generator.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I would remove anything that you can and in preparation for eventually them asking, but until they ask, I wouldn't do anything. Why spend money?
Well, okay, let's answer that question. That's a very good question. And there's two reasons. One is the allocated money that the town has, the 4.2 million, the demolition of this qualifies for that money. So the money that we're going to be using to tear down the Gallup Hill tank and the bunker, actually, that money, that $122,000 can be used. All right, it's valid. It's the state saying, yes, you can use that money for that kind of project. All right, that's been verified by Weston and Sampson Engineering. They stated that people are using that money to do those kind of projects. The other reason is that Marsha, our finance director, got approached by the insurance company, and they were very uncomfortable with these idle properties. And so she wants to put a bond. I guess we paid off a lot of bonds, so we're wide open to more bond money to demo all these properties. So there's two reasons.
No, those all make sense. My expectation is that the Loftus is probably the least, has the least liability associated with it, because it's pretty hard to get to.
Right.
So I would put it last on the list. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I think that, to be honest, I don't know, Ray, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that other than the tanks, there's equipment in there and the building itself has some value.
Yeah.
And so it wouldn't cost as much. I mean, for example, the Gallup Hill tank is useful for anybody. Nobody wants that. The underground pipe and that bunker, all of that is useless. But this building could be sold, and somebody would pay us to take the building. Okay, so it might not be very expensive to go and rip out the equipment. So
Yeah, I don't object. If we could find a buyer for the building, then that would make sense. Yeah.
right. Now, Sablewood is another one, but Sablewood is not, that's like a concrete bunker. And there's, I don't know, there's probably some value of it, but nobody's going to take that thing. And it's awkward. It doesn't have four walls. It's got one wall up against the hill, with tanks sticking in it. So, all right. Pfizer well, Steve wants it. We're not touching it. That's Steve's baby, so he can have it. The Gallup Hill pump station, well, Bill wants us to sell it. I don't know who we're gonna sell it to, but he wants to sell it to someone, and then we'd get rid of it. Now, Ray, I thought we capped the well at Highlands because we're not paying any diversion permit for that.
No, those, we never capped them. You never had a diversion permit for that one. For some reason, I don't know how that came about, but
You're kidding me.
They probably predated all those laws.
it might have, yeah.
Yeah, but don't you think they would have followed up with a diversion permits at one time?
Yeah, but I wouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
Well, but now, of course, that means we got to cap that well.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave it there. Okay, well, that's going to be a cost we're going to have to look at in this bond to cap the well. Okay. Any further discussions on that? Those are the sites. The only one that was probably ready for maybe a bid was Village Drive. It's really secure. It's got some very good steel doors on it, steel caps, and a fence around it. So I'm going to be like you, Jim. I'm going to say just until, well, we'll talk to Marcia about it, but it's not a hazard for now. Okay. So real quick here, I'm going to go to the next item too. And this is just, you guys have seen this. I wanted to just simply update what was presented to the mayor on the study. They're enthusiastic about it. The only thing, and I wonder if I can show this, I want to show, let me see. There we go. Let me show you this. I wanted to show this to you because share. Okay, so you'll see the development scenarios in the past studies. it's very important. 117 is separating A from D, B from E. Okay, and you can see C is up there. I think that's Habitat for Humanity, and then you have G. What was presented to the planning and zoning was that we can service some of these areas, but not at the density that some of the developers have been talking about. So I always love to use this expression, the dead chicken or the rubber chicken's been thrown on our desk, the dead chicken. And that is, we have to come up with some kind of formula to allocate the gallons per day rates per these lots. Now, there's a lot of ways of doing this. You can do first come, first serve, but that's probably not fair. Then you allocate, A with so many thousands of gallons a day, and B, and et cetera. Okay. So that's what we'll come up with. And then in the next meeting, they're going to want some numbers. And the reason is that the trail design is going on right now. And they want to start construction in April and finish by the fall of next year. Okay. So we need to hustle. Yes. So do you guys kind of understand what we're talking about when we talk about allocation?
Sure.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, so there are numbers here that Weston and Sampson's put together. Now, we're told by planning and zoning that the developers were just coming up with ideas, that there's nothing set in concrete. As a matter of fact, Dave Holdridge has sent me an email and bugged me to say what's going on with the sewer study, because he wants to talk to the developer. So apparently they're looking for numbers. So already we're being pressured to come up with some. So anyway, so that's the scenario there. The mayor is gung ho, wants to proceed. Because we got to work out the technical details. He was in favor. He liked the idea of the 1.2 million phase one and then phase three, but I'm not worried too much about phase three because that's the bottleneck later on down the road, literally. But we can, the money is available now, so we should do it. And I don't have so the grant, we get 50%, as you know, if we get the grant. And Julie said that she thought she could write the grant. I haven't got any feedback today whether she wants to do it, but she said she had time and she could do it. But Weston and Sampson said they could do it too. So, and that thing has to be submitted by the end of the month, end of September. We're looking at, so instead of, she said 2.1 million, it would be, like 1.05 million for phase 1 and 3. And that would come from, again, the funds that the town has available for this. So are there any questions on this or any, you've already seen a lot of this, but I just give you.
Do we need to come up with this allocation scheme before applying?
No. However, they do want us to come up with a proposal at the end of the month.
Well, Weston and Sampson sort of did already, where they reduced development scenarios by 50%.
Correct, but that was a proposal.
Right.
So we need to put the imperator on there and say, yeah, this is what lot A would get. But they haven't, Weston Sampson hasn't put they want a policy too, the town does. They want to know, do we do a combination of first come, first serve and then allocation? There's the planning and zoning is telling the developers that high density residential is not the intent. Matter of fact, it's not even zoned for that. So they're saying mixed residential commercial, with the emphasis on commercial. So, but they like the idea Okay, here's the rub, guys. They like the idea that it's the WPCA that has the big stick. So if a developer goes to planning and zoning and starts giving it a hard time, planning and zoning is going to say, well, WPCA is going to allocate you, let's say 15,000 gallons per day for sewer. That's all you got. So whatever you do, then you're going to have to go septic. You can use 15,000, but we're not going to give you another gallon. You follow me? So they're going to try and, strong on the developers into reducing the residential and increasing the commercial use anyway.
Well, maybe we do something like do first come, first serve with commercial and then have a certain amount reserved for residential.
I like that idea.
Because I would certainly hate to block a commercial development because we're holding some capacity in reserve for high density residential that may never come.
I agree. I like that. I like the idea of commercial and then residential if there's any left. Okay.
A question about what planning and zoning would like, where they would like the development. Would they, for this mixed, do they want it on the corridor of the streets that are there now? In other words,
Yeah. So good question, Jim. So for example, the town just put a very expensive septic system in. The county. We're not going to touch that up. We're not going to touch that.
oh, I understand.
So there are some commercial that, and I don't know about Village Market, they want to expand. I really don't know how many bathrooms are going to put in their expansion, but so there is some, question as to some of those places. Now, I'm not sure about Ledyard Center School. I think they're having trouble with their septic.
Yeah, and I think their plan was always to replace that system because it was getting a little marginal. And I think the Holdridge's building could use more capacity as well, because I remember when that bake shop opened up in there, they almost didn't get a permit because they didn't have enough capacity in their existing septic system.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But how many bathrooms does Holdridge have?
One.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, but there was some rule for capacity for the bake shop based on the assumed number of customers and all that, and how many gallons they were gonna
Oh, my goodness.
generate. So yeah, the health district almost didn't give them a permit to open.
You're talking, not Zest. You're talking that other.
Yeah.
Oh, Zest. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I believe that's D in the picture. So that would be a candidate. You remember, the DOT doesn't like, tearing up their state roads. That can be very pricey, getting a sewer line there, but that's a detail. But you're right. We could reserve some allocation for some of that. Now, Ray, it's very important about Lot E. As I see Lot E, there's developers wanting to develop that, but that is I know that's in the watershed.
Guys,
Yeah, it is.
And so, I don't know. So, we have to do a balancing act, because whatever they want to develop in E, I'm sure Groton Utilities would prefer us using, a sewer line,
Mhm.
a septic.
Yep.
That's going to complicate things, because E was really, we did talk about E. If you look at the thing that we're talking about, 2 restaurants, some office buildings. So they were allocating some number to E. I'm looking at it, they were saying residential 22,500, and commercial 22,500. So they were allocating some, but again, I like the idea that first come, first serve on commercial. Probably put a little less stress, but that lot would be included in this figuring. Now C is Habitat for Humanity, and I think C probably could exist today with septic. So I'm not really sure. Maybe F and G, but not C. So that's the kind of games we're gonna have to play. Okay. If there's no other further discussion, I would like to go. Let me go to this I gotta share this, I gotta share this. So,
Ed, before you leave this item, I think, don't we need a plan of attack here? I mean, if we want this by the end of the month, we only got 2 weeks.
well, I thought, yeah, I actually thought that what Stan proposed was a good discussion point.
Well, it's a start, but I think we got to put some numbers to that.
Well, I think in order to do that, we're gonna have to bring Weston and Sampson into the meeting and make sure that we don't, over or under allocate. Don't you think? I mean, they have the numbers and then they can play with those numbers. And then that's what, I think that's technically what we can allocate, right?
Well, all we need, don't we only need to know what the capacity number is?
The overall,
Yeah.
we have
And
that.
then-
number.
And then we allocate it to, in Stan's order of priority, we allocate that, say, 75% to commercial businesses, and then 25% to residential in those areas that have, because not all those areas have both residential and commercial.
Correct.
So, I mean, we need some ratio, 75-25 or 80-20 or something, allocate it to the various commercial districts and then see what we got left for residential. But all we need from the engineers is the capacity number.
Yeah, and so we can do the allocation. Remember, we are going to have a public hearing even after we do that allocation. You do know that we have to, in October, probably have to present to the public an opportunity for them to make comment. So that's why I say it almost, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter what we do. It's just that what we propose is definitely going to have discussions in the future between planning and zoning, between the mayor, between the developers and the landowners. Okay. They're all going to want to put their 2 bits in.
Right, but I think we got to present something that's got more granularity to it than what we've discussed tonight.
Yes. And my plan was to do that in next meeting.
That's the way, well,
I mean, you're
I
right.
don't know, I'm thinking we need a work session before that.
We could do that. I'm sure we can bring Weston and Sampson in too, unless you don't want to, but we can bring them in on the workshop.
we need to.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we need to look at how that property is currently zoned. I don't think some of these past scenarios took current zoning into account.
Yeah, so that question came up and I believe it's the zoning. I can pull it's online. We can pull it. It's the Ledyard Center Design District. I know there's a 1 and a 2. I think they reduced it and I think 1 is the A, B, and C, and the 2 is D and E, but I have to check that. And that, if you look at the guidelines, that's mixed. That's a mixed use zoning. Very similar to what you see at Mystic, commercial on the first floor and residential on the second floor.
Yeah, that was the intent.
And well, I don't know how to call it parallel parking, but it's slanted parking, off the road so that
Diagonal.
there you go. The diagonal road, parking and wide sidewalks, 10-foot sidewalks, 12-foot, I don't know. I guess with COVID, we better make them 25-foot so people can put their tents up. Anyway, so that's what it is. It's the Ledyard Center Design District, 1 and 2.
Quick question on to the south. 'Cause
Yes.
we have that, the initial phase ends pretty far south.
You mean
Right.
E? You mean E, right? Is that what
No,
you're-
no. The initial phase, the red,
Oh,
it ends just south of the library is
Correct.
the terminus.
That's
So we have is there anything that would tie in? I mean, I know there's a graveyard down the road, so it's probably not tying in, but the rest of properties in that region, do they want to tie in too? Is that part of the center?
Yeah, that question I don't know the answer to, and I believe there's some residential there, but not much. It's a couple of homes. There's a gas station. Again, we may not, gas station is they just put in the gas station with a septic. I don't think,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gotta have a brand new state of the
Yeah,
art
it-
septic system. so-
right,
Yeah.
they're not gonna want to tie in, and we're not gonna ask them or force them to. I mean, that's.
No, no, I understand that. My point was is that it's just funny that we have the line coming in and we're only looking north of where the line is. That's all.
Right, or across 117, correct.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. And,
So that's just a little odd.
yeah, and I think in terms of the cost, it's up to the developer. He wants to tie in, it's gonna be their nickel. You know, they're gonna have to put in grinding pumps and lines. And if they're allocated to do that, if we give them an allocation number, then, you know, they can go ahead and do it. So, but you know, this is gonna have some, well, at least among the developers and landowners, there's gonna be some heated discussion on this. I'm making a prediction. Okay, so an action item will be to put together a workshop on this. So look out for the next couple of weeks.
And Ed, you probably should invite Nate Woody to that as well.
Oh, no, Nate and Julie, they have to be there.
Right.
Yeah, we can't, you know, they got skin in this game. And actually they're the ones that are gonna have to somehow defend it in terms of how it's in the practicality.
And I'm the one that brought this all to planning and zoning because I'm on planning and zoning. And I certainly didn't want them to get blindsided by a plan. So I'm the one that alerted them that and actually gave them a bit of the presentation of what was going to be going on and pointed out to them that
Good.
we didn't have enough capacity to handle all the proposed development in Ledyard Center.
Right. Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of proposals out there, some pretty dense stuff too. So, good. All right, so I'm going to make the motion here. I have to change. This is not. It's okay to say to authorize Weston Sampson to proceed with phase 1 design. But it's not at the 1.2 million. It's the $6,800 that we held back for underneath the trail. They need to proceed with that design.
And the motion just be that we release our hold on the funding that we control?
Yes, I would rather just make it very simple. The motion is to release the funding we withheld from the original proposal to Weston and Sampson. The background here is this. They're going to put in a trail. Now, if they're going to put in a trail, they're going to have to move rocks and cut trees, right? Well, you don't put that trail in first. You have to put in the sewer line. It has to go down 4.5 feet. It's a 3-inch line. And it's going to go up and down the hill. You got to move rocks. So guess what? We're going to be reducing the dollar figure in the trail construction because that's what was in their original design cost. So I'm sorry, we're going to have to absorb some of that. That's fine. You know, that was in the 1.2 million. And then they will spend less. But we certainly want to get that line in there before the trail goes in. Please. And I don't want to hold it up. I mean, I'm not trying to hold up the town or the state's allocating the funds because this is a grant. But we need to get the design in pretty fast. And then because going out to bids is going to be a several month affair. And that's going to put us right into the springtime, right? Unless we can go faster. I don't know, Ray, everybody's busy, so I don't know how that's going to work. So we need to do it now and push it hard now. We're going to hold up the trail. So, any other discussions on this?
And I think all we have to do on the motion is change the 1.2 million to 6,800. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's already in the, I've
Right.
already put that in the actual motion.
Okay.
So that's done.
Yeah, and it's specifically the under trail sewer line design. It's just design. It's not construction, it's design.
Correct. It says, wait a minute, if I'm mute, no, I'm not mute. It's, the motion says, hold on. Authorize WNS engineers to proceed with the under trail sewer line design phase 1 in the amount of $6,800.
Excellent.
That's, yeah.
I'll make
And
the motion. All
Christina left that open for me to fill in.
right, good. I make that motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll
Second,
second that.
Thank you. Well, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, hearing none, it's unanimous. All right, guys, I have nothing else. We'll close this meeting. Thanks for joining a special meeting. And I guess, Ray, the town council is going to probably meet on the 22nd. And I'll tell Marcia that to go ahead and proceed. And I guess they have to do their thing. And looks like we'll get it in there before winter anyway.
And I'd like to suggest that if possible, when we have a work session on the allocation of sewer capacity to the different projects,
Yeah,
that we do that together face to face, because it's going to be a bunch of trade-offs and it's going to be harder to do looking at one screen like this.
I agree. I think we should do a face-to-face in the town annex or wherever it's appropriate. I'm first retired guys. It's easy to do during the day. So I'm looking, probably look for a preference. We might be able to do it in the evening too. So. All right.
I'm fully retired, so it doesn't matter to me.
You're making the other guys jealous.
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm
I'm at
also,
work. I'm at work now, Ed. Just a minute that you feel good. I almost left.
You almost left.
Well, because you weren't letting me in.
Oh.
You left me in purgatory again.
This software is awful because it comes up with a bubble and I easily do it. But once you start sharing and doing things, nothing shows. I don't see anything. I don't even know where to look for where the room is. The room disappears. All right, I'll have to do a better job in the future. I'll have to find out how to make that work.
I'll keep reminding you to check under participants and you'll see who's waiting.
Yeah, every 2 seconds. I can go.
Yeah.
All right, guys, have a good evening.
Good
All
night.
right, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Good night.